Hello, and welcome to another episode of Between Two Pints. I'm your host, Rob, and with me today is Hank from Death by Media Man Productions or Films or...
We never put a thing on the end of it. It was just by Death by Media Man. But I guess it is We Are Production. It's me. It's me.
Yes.
It's just,
no, you're supposed to use we, so you look important.
Yeah.
I do.
I've got a team.
Yeah. You notice in my emails about this, it's like, oh, we'll like do this. It's like, there's no we, it's just me. But yeah, so you do Death by Media Man is one of your YouTube channels. And then what evolved out of that is On the Spot.
Yeah, On the Spot is sort of my more experimental take on a ongoing narrative, whereas Death by Media Man is sort of where I've done literally just experimental video. There were some shorts. I would do video essays. I got into a whole analog horror thing for a period of time, and then eventually hit a point where I really wanted to push myself to develop something new. I wanted it to be separate from Death by Media Man, so it wouldn't be burdened by every experiment I'd done previously. And On This Spot kind of just evolved out of that and a number of other inspirations.
And now before we continue, we need to cheers. We've got some Guinness today.
Clink.
Yeah.
That's tasty.
Yes, it's kind of like chocolate milk with alcohol.
The best kind.
So what caught my eye is I was looking at On the Spot posts on Instagram. And it's neat because you post parts of the videos are like pictures of these stickers that you've actually put out in reality, in real life.
Yeah, that's part of what I wanted to do. I've done a lot of work that's just me sitting at a computer, often not even really working with not working with real footage or working with just public domain stuff. And I wanted to leave the house and go film something. And you know how that goes, where you don't have a lot of people necessarily you can call on at every moment of your whimsy to do something. So it had to be very self-contained, something I could do on my own. And yeah, so I remember seeing somebody had put up a notice in our neighborhood, which was just like, tell me a joke. And there was a phone number on it. And you could also leave a message, or you could hear a message if you wanted to. And there's a bit of a like, I'm never going to call that. But it opened me up to the like, oh, right, we can just do shit. You can just put signs up. Like there's no control over it. You can just do stuff that you want. So that's sort of where that started out from.
It seems very much like punk rock art.
I sure hope so. I mean, I did my hair for this and everything.
Yeah, so. I'm flattered. I don't think I framed it properly, unfortunately. I think I'm giving you a haircut.
I'm doing the Dan Aykroyd Cloneheads thing where I'm just trying to take up the rest of the screen.
Yeah, we'll just frame it like this. So
link lower.
But what was really neat is you post stickers that have YouTube links that actually link to the channel.
Yeah. So it's like ideally it's multimedia narrative so that somebody in Vancouver could experience these stickers. You're asking me about this stuff. It's hard to not feel like you're being hoity-toity when you talk like, oh, somebody might see my art and it's so interesting. But that's what we're fucking doing right now. So I'm going to tone that down.
Oh, it's good, man.
The idea that there is this thing that's in the world that then connects up to an internet thing that is both an audio and a visual presentation that is a narrative, but also is not like, that the files, all those stickers relate up to files, and the files are just standalone bits of weirdness that I create. There is a thread that starts to get drawn through the whole thing, but I also don't want to lose the surrealist moment-to-moment aspect of it. I don't want it to be tied into having to be too much of a thing, because kind of the fun is that it is a expression of freedom.
And can you give us some hints on what the narrative is? Because it seems like it's almost like a alternate reality or parallel reality.
It's definitely alt reality is a big thing that comes up. So the gist of it, I think, is to say of like, there are stories about a secret paranormal history that happened in Vancouver. Again, you walk around Vancouver sometimes and you'll see those little notifications of like, hey, a historical thing happened on this. These are those, but they start off with things like a rain of cubes that fell from the sky over one neighborhood, or a pyramid made of flesh that just floated over some houses for a bit.
Kind of like when The Fringe was being shot here.
God, there's so many levels. There were points in time where, man, if I had the money and the wherewithal, there was a point where I thought, man, figure out where everything weird happened from an X-Files and a Fringe and make that a mythology. You could say of a Vancouver, like this house, like Squid Man attacked at this house, or like this episode was this. I don't have the ability to go through all that. I'm an East Van kid, so East Van kid. I'm a guy who lives in East Vancouver. Uh, so so it had to be in that area. I mean, so much of this is I live in Strathcona and I work in downtown. And that's my area of East Van. I get to kind of claim that territory. And that's sort of what this is as well, in that same way as, like you said, there's a graffiti art aspect. And I remember, I think it was Warren Ellis talked about the idea of when somebody's graffiti tagging a building, that's a way of owning it, like you're a dog pissing on it. And there's an aspect of I'm doing that with a mystical narrative about our city.
That's really interesting. So how did this start? Where like, was there something you saw? You said you saw some of those plaques that are very common in Vancouver. They're like, this is a heritage thing from our history.
So I can nail down a handful of really big inspirations that set me on this path. One of which would have to be the Flesh Interface series by Mother Horse Eyes. Do you have any? Have you ever encountered that?
What is that?
This is one of my favorite fucking things in the world. This is one of the best things I have ever read. And what it was a series of Reddit posts where it would be somebody talking about something on Reddit. And then down in the comment section, there would be something that was related to that initial comment, but it would be this fucking nuts story that was an alternate history. When you started piecing
it.
all of these persons' pieces together, oh my God, you got a story, a narrative that's being told from all these different points of view. And it was an alternate history thing about these flesh interfaces. The CIA was using LSD to somehow create portals to another world, but nobody comes back from it sane. There's all these Lovecraftian elements to it. But the fact that it was told in fragmented clips all over Reddit, like I think this person said at one point they tried to publish it as a novel and nobody was interested. But when you encounter this thing on Reddit, it has this weird mythical quality to it. Like, or it's being written by a schizophrenic person, and we kind of respond to it on both levels. But that idea of doing something that is, are you familiar with House of Leaves?
I was actually just thinking about that. Yes, that I've never read it, but I've heard more and more about it. There's apparently a haunted doom level that you can download from the internet that references it heavily. And it's weird because it breaks the physics in the video game. But like if you've read House of Leaves, there's all these weird things that kind of line up with the same sort of storytelling.
I could see how that would work.
Yeah.
And is another example of, again, like trying to storytell on multiple levels.
Yes.
And I don't know, creating world building. You know, I think a type of storytelling I've always really loved is D&D manuals. You know, even more so than reading a story, I love reading about what is this thing? What is, just like, give me 3 paragraphs that tell me what this deal was. And I think there's an aspect of that on this spot that's just like, I get to write little fake encyclopedia entries.
Yes, actually D&D manuals is a good sort of parallel to that. Like, cause I used to love reading the Iron Kingdoms ones where it's like, exactly how do the economics of a whole nation that is undead work when they don't need food?
And like, sure, you could read, this is nothing against reading novels. Novels are great,
Yeah.
But there is a part of me that's like, man, if you just had a D&D manual for Game of Thrones after it was all done that just explained everything, I would read that book. I would read that even more than I would necessarily read the narrative because I love that stuff.
That's fascinating. Yeah. So do you play the Dungeons and Dragons?
Not in years.
It's gotten so much better.
I know. And it's funny because I work in a role-playing game store. Like that's a big aspect of what we do. It's more of just time, energy, socialization. It's been, years, but I definitely, one of my stronger narrative backgrounds would be like as a kid, for a period of time, I lived in the woods. We didn't have any electricity and we lived in a little shack. Wow. And aside from reading comic books, I spent a lot of time reading the Ninja Turtles role-playing guides.
Oh, wow.
And had that experience of when you have a stack of role-playing games and no friends.
Yep.
And you just roll up characters and you daydream about stuff and you kind of live within those facts. But there's this weird, like, I've spent more time reading those books alone than I have playing role-playing games in my life. But didn't somebody say something once about the like, I have this thing that I do where I do role-playing games where I'm the characters and I'm the DM and I just do it in like a word processing document. It's called writing a book.
That's true. Because yes, and I mean, even like when I've read books on how to write books, it's like you need consistent rules and like a world to exist in. And D&D and role playing games really provide that, where they give you like a rule system for imagining.
And you're just playing a bunch of dudes talking to themselves. Like there's an aspect of that that is just like that's how I write.
Huh. So when you develop these I mean video they're like multimedia installations, even if you want to sound really fancy. But what is the life cycle of the videos? You post them fairly frequently. Like one was like a day ago or 2 days ago, wasn't it?
The actual development of the videos is pretty automatic at this point. Like I've got a real system for how I'm doing it, and because of the way the writing's staggered, it becomes one of those things where it's like, well, most of the writing for this was done 4 months ago. Now I'm just filling out the last little bits. I'm doing a video a week right now. And I mean, honestly, with the way I have it, it's set up to be somewhat simple. So I can, eh, from start to finish, I can probably do one in about 4 to 6 hours.
Hmm.
And a lot of that's even just like video processing time.
Right, rendering.
That was me rendering for a second.
Yes. Loading.
Yeah.
Loading.
There it is. There's the word. But yeah, it's some of it is very simple text on screen. I'm using AI voice for a lot of the background stuff. And I wanted it to not be necessarily super challenging to put these together because I did want to keep a weekly timeline.
Right. So when you use AI voice, are you using 11 Labs?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes, that is exactly the guys who I'm using for that. Yeah.
How's your experience with that been?
I don't mean to plug them or nothing, but they've been really good.
Yeah.
I almost feel bad for the way they're set up because they have that. God, I don't know if I should be letting out this trade secret, everybody, but you can only, what is it? You can use 5,000 credits a month with them before it resets, but you can log in as many Google accounts as you have. And I've got like whatever it is, 8 different Google accounts for different channels, things that I've done. So there's a real like, all right, I use this one till it's done. Then I use this free account till it's done. Then I use this free account. By that time, this one's done. So they'll never get any money from me.
I don't know. I spent I got like a month where I was doing a lot of silly stuff with it, and I paid the $10, and for what you get for the $10, it's like you're hooked. Like if there's any way you can rationalize $10 a month, it's not too super hard, and that's a great price point. Because I'm sure like someone like you, yeah, but the moment you get a grant is the moment you're dropping the money on it.
100%. That's the biggest thing is right now I want to be careful about how much this art project costs me.
Yeah.
And at the same time, now that it's been months of me working on it, I can't help looking at a big one that I for inspiration is what are those guys? The Mystery Flesh Pit National Park. Have you seen those guys?
That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a team it is, but it's like it's a website and there's merch you can buy. Like it's like somebody did Slender Man but managed to merchandise it properly while retaining the rights to it. That kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I do think there's a world where, like any artist, I would love to be making money from this. To a certain degree, I was also making this project because it's not something that can be easily commodified.
Mm-hmm.
As a writer, something that I run into as a real stumbling block all the time is it's hard to shut down the part of you that even as you're typing every time, that part of your brain that's like, who are you going to sell this to? What's this for? What are you doing this for? What is the end product that we can sell to justify the time that we're putting into this? And doing on the spot was in a way so that I could step back and be like, this is not commercial. This is not going to be a book. This is not a screenplay. I'm just making art for the sake of art. And at the same time, there is
building a brand.
It sure would be nice. I've imagined the t-shirts we could sell.
That's fascinating. So if you were given a grant, because like my friend actually was telling me that I should look into like becoming a certified Canadian artist or something, where like then you can apply for yearly grants. If you got a grant, how would you make it cooler?
Well, like you said, definitely spending money on the actual tools that I'm using. Like I would definitely get an ongoing account with 11 Labs. Those guys are great. See, it's funny. I think I'm on 39 of these things I've put up so far.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to hit. No, it can't be 39. It must be around like, I
think it was 33.
Yeah, 33. And I believe this whatever fucking spoilers are. This is such a weird. No one's talked to me about this, so I don't have spoilers. So it's kind of evolving as we go. But like, we have to number 42, and that's kind of what I call season 1. And at 42, I have an endpoint where I kind of had it designed that I could walk away from it if I wanted to and just leave it as a thing. But I've gotten quite emotionally invested in the process. And I have a like, no, I think what I need to do is I need to finish this off, take a couple of months off from it, just let my head go clean, and then do something else with it that's still a continuation on what it was. And a big thing that I would love to do, especially with a little money and support, I was re-looking at the Blair Witch Project.
Mhm.
I really love, especially the beginning of it, when they're just doing those random interviews with people on the street kind of thing, which apparently a lot of those were exactly what they seem to be. And that's the next level I would love to take things to is, again, even just with my crappy little camera on my phone, in an ideal world, I would love to be interacting more with the people of the area that I'm making this about. I would love to sort of incorporate them. I want to be really careful about this because some of what I'm talking about is utilizing impoverished people, and in some case, like people with mental health issues who I see on my streets who I would still like to be a part of my thing, but I don't ever want it to be a like
Exploitative.
exactly. It's a close line to walk, but there is a I I interact with a lot of street people, people going through hard times, and they all got fucking fascinating stories to tell. They're fascinating characters, fascinating faces that you never get to see on TV. And I think there's a couple of specifically really special moments in the Blair Witch Project. There's one lady in particular. You're never gonna fucking see that lady in a movie, but they used her in a scene, and she's fucking great. Coen brothers are really good at that. I know there's a few other creators who managed to like pull from outsiders, but I think there is a part of me that would love to find a way to use people and to pay them,
Mm.
to be able to say of like, hey, do you want to do a fake interview for my thing for 3 minutes? Here's $20.
Yep. Hey, that's actually works
Whatever
out to be a pretty good
respectful way,
hourly
like,
rate.
yes, yeah.
I saw another video that was, I think it was Kingsgate Mall Liminal Spaces.
Yeah. So it's kind of
Which account was that one on? I can't remember.
so there is a concept of a thing which is the Liminal. The Liminal is another separate, whole other channel I made at one point, which was just a series of videos about a haunted extra-dimensional mall, which I called the Liminal. And then at one point throughout on this spot, I realized that I could say that at some point the Kingsgate Mall overlapped with the Liminal. Nobody's gotten deep enough into my mythology to find this stuff yet, but now there is a like, oh, if you were hardcore into on this spot, you'll discover that there's actually a whole other channel that got started a year earlier, which has a bunch of videos which thematically do line up to this project that I was working on or that I'm working on now. There was a while where I was into, okay, so get some of my influences. Mall Soft, Liminal Space, Weird Corn, Dreamcore. Those are 4 concepts I've been trying to go back to a number of times. Things that have really influenced a lot of my creativity, things I've just enjoyed. Those sort of
Mall Soft.
Mall Soft is often used for describing a type of music, but I think it also fits into a certain liminal space. It's the music you hear in the background of malls.
Oh,
Elevator music,
yes.
but then often combined with that specifically like mall-centric liminal space type photos.
Yes.
Lots of muted pinks and blues, that kind of weird floaty feeling. Some of this overlaps with what is it, like old weather cable station stuff, which I'm also like, the older I get, the more I'm just like, is that a weather feed from the 1980s? I'm just going to play that for 3 hours in the background because it makes my brain happy.
That's incredible.
So often when I'm sitting down to do some of the on the spot stuff, those are some of the core points I'm trying to look back to remember what I'm trying to communicate here.
I think it obviously, just the audience might know that this is all very reminiscent of Backrooms.
I'm definitely a big Backrooms guy. I mean, I think something that I've tried to do in a way that I hope you're allowed to do, in the way of like, what is it? Bad artists steal, good artists homage.
Yes.
On This Spot is full of homages to creepypastas that I'm a big fan of. There's a couple of characters that are 100% I was just trying to do a Slender Man thing.
Hmm.
There's a specific, I think it's the 3 a.m. donut shop, where the introductory paragraph is me taking that initial Backrooms paragraph and rewriting it. So the sentence structure is still the same. Do you know the initial?
Something. Please repeat it.
So the Backrooms is that photograph, but it's not just the photograph. Like, the photograph was going around, but then at some point somebody wrote underneath it this little thing about if you no clip out of reality, you'll wind up in the Backrooms. And there's a line about the incessant hum of the flickering fluorescent lights and the weird moistness of the carpet. The picture was something, but when somebody put that text on it, that's when it became a thing.
That's when it transformed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've even played a cheesy video game based on it, but like I remember discovering the backroom videos, and I've done road trips with a friend across Canada. You know Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I always love doing is stopping at these like half abandoned malls and towns and stuff. And they're so weird because like half the stores are closed, so there's usually like a I don't know, like a Walmart at one end, and then a bunch of closed stores, and then maybe like a Safeway at the other end or something. And you know, the people that are just sort of hanging out, they're kids, like teenagers, because they got nowhere else to go. And but it's just, there's always that kind of surreal creepiness.
Yeah, I love it. I completely get that. It's like ghost towns and in between ghost towns. The weird thing is, a big thing I've discovered about East Van throughout this project is there's a part of me that, like, oh, I planned this project in the 1980s. We're in a state of urban renewal where it's really, I'll go through certain areas where I'm like, oh man, I should preface this by saying, okay, so part of what I'm also trying to do with these stickers is claiming ignored urban space.
Mhm.
I really try to look for places where I can see posters have been left for maybe months and nobody tears them down. Nobody cares about it. Or even to a certain degree, like areas where a lot of weeds grow up, just where you can see this is right in the middle of the city, but nobody fucking cares.
Kind of like a forgotten spot.
Exactly. And to be able to take those and then make those mythically interesting points.
Mhm.
And then there's the overlap of also, if I put something there, I know it's going to stick around for longer, and that's good for my perspective. And the weird thing has been, there's all sorts of parts in East Vancouver. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be great. Like, I'm going to go here and put this up. And then I get there, I'm like, oh shit, somebody paints this wall weekly.
Right.
Like, they don't let graffiti go up in this area anymore. And like having to actually really look for areas of where there's just so much stuff where I'm like, oh, there's a whole bunch of good old desolate houses here that I can work with. It's like, oh, those got knocked down 4 years ago. There's a high rise going up now. Like, all these things where I used to remember urban decay existing. It's like, no, we've had urban renewal for a while.
Our property values are so valuable, they're not going to let it sit around anymore.
That's exactly the case. And we're also really good about putting up fences, putting up security guards, putting up cameras everywhere. So yeah, for a project like what I'm doing, it's funny. I can tell when I'm walking through certain areas and I'm looking for where to tag, and I can feel that I have this energy that people will respond to because I'm doing this like scanning, looking, what's being ignored, what's being left around. And every once in a while, when you're in somebody else's neighborhood, you can feel them watching you. They're like, why are you doing that? That's exactly it. But there is a like, that is what I'm doing.
Yeah. So have you thought about upgrading it? Like, because you're doing stickers right now, right? What about like, because like even for me, it's like I have a 3D printer and I'm like, I've thought about printing QR codes.
You know, it's funny. It's funny. I think I would like to get to a point where I can incorporate more QR codes into what I'm doing, but I always remember one of my coworkers, we looked up and there's a bus stop outside of our shop, and somebody had put up a little page with a thing and a QR code. And my coworker looked at it and turned to me and went, hey, look, it's a great way to get a virus on your phone. And I just had to like, you're right, man. Like, to a degree, I feel like putting
a YouTube link is a lot safer
than actually putting something that you have to scan into your phone. There's an ideal world where, oh man, I got thousands of followers and everybody's so interested in what I'm doing, and I can start to hide QR codes because people are looking for it. Right now, nobody's looking for me. So if I hide something,
you make it any weirder, it's just going to be,
Yeah. I do love the idea of, I've been trying to figure out a way to work props into it in some way or another. I really love the idea of, I guess, sort of tying geocaching into it. Doing like urban geocaching of like finding a way to like tape, I don't know, like a little Kinder Surprise with a funny little toy in it somewhere where nobody's going to fucking look for it, but include me doing that in one of the videos. So if you're somebody who follows the video and knows Vancouver, maybe you'll go down that street and you'll look up that thing and you'll actually find the little thing that I left there.
That's fascinating.
I haven't really, it's a neat idea, but I haven't really figured out a way that
It's
it helps the story.
It's a season 2 thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Meditating on season 2 is already.
Do you have like a notebook?
I mean, a cybernetic notebook.
Like digital note. Do you use any? I use Notion. I'm like addicted to it.
Oh, man, I pretty much just have like long form Google documents.
Oh, wow.
I think I used to do everything basically just on like Microsoft Word. I just open one, it's 400 pages. Every day I just open it up and whatever new notes of the day just go in there.
That's incredible. Yeah, I did that many years ago, and then I got into Evernote, but then they changed their billing structure and it became functionally useless if you didn't have a subscription. So like Notion was the replacement, and I just like it because you can get templates. And I love that because it's like you get project trackers. So I'm tracking this podcast in like a project tracker where I can like drag the like interview with Hank will go from scheduled to shot. And then when I'm in editing, and
I love the idea of being that organized. There's such a big aspect of this project. I did an interview for I write comic book reviews for Absolute Underground, the local.
I know Ira. Ira is a king.
That's so funny. Everybody knows Ira, and I don't. And I've been writing with him for like a couple of years. I've been doing stuff through those guys, and I've never actually met him.
I've met him a bunch of times. We got super stoned once and went to a theme park outside Toronto.
Sounds appropriate.
When I was just vacating, I was like, I had one day layover, and he's like, "Hey, you want to go to Six Flags tomorrow?" I'm like, I do. He's like, you want to get high first? I'm like, fuck do I? But one time I was living in Vancouver. He's from Victoria. And he's like, hey man, what are you doing like Friday night? I'm like, oh man, I don't know. He's like, you got a camera and a mic, right? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, want to come be my cameraman? I'm going to like see this band. I'm like, yeah, sure, cool. It was Guar. And then we got to go backstage with Guar, and like it was like right at a Wayne's World where they were like super articulate and like very intelligent and like he's like, oh, you guys want a beer? They gave us a bunch of beer. Like, you should have a beer. And like, yeah, it was wild. Like it was a classic Ira.
Interesting. I don't know. I get emails from them every once in a while. But they also, I think at one point I was sending them some comic reviews, like just for the most recent issue, and in my little polite way, I was like, oh man, I wish I'd gotten more reviews done, but I'm working on this art project and it's really taking up a lot of my time. It would be neat if somebody asked me about it. And I guess it's Aaron. I've only seen it in print. They wrote me back and were like, hey, could we interview you for the next issue about this art project that you're
taking off?
And it's specifically, I got bumped down an issue, but it was supposed to be for the 420 issue. And basically they were like, this will fit, but there was also like, hey, do you like, does pot influence? Can we make this a 420 thing? And there's a level, this to track it back to what you were saying about being organized. This is such a pothead project.
Like, just get high and work on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. And that's, there's an aspect of like, that's kind of what it's for. Like, I wanted to do something that is a little formless and a little scattered, and like, the most like up my ass I can get about some of this stuff is one of the other big influences I haven't talked about yet is Grant Morrison. And one of Grant Morrison's big influences is the Dadaists of like way back in the day. And this concept of making shit that's just, I don't know, I think of it as like surrealism, but with a bit more of a childish, I'm going to bite you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And I like going down that path. That's been a big inspiration on my art for a long time. So there is the concept of like, yeah, I fucking just get blazed, so I'm so fucking confused, and then I do crazy shit. But that's kind of what I want it to be like. Cool. Yeah, but the fact that I'm telling an alternate reality which has a fucking timeline, but it's being told all out of time, like the amount of work that I have to put into being of like, oh shit, I can't say this dude died here because I have a person doing this thing here, and that date actually relates to this. Doing this all on the fly, again, I just have long documents going. I'm not keeping track of this in a coherent way.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I should.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea that this is like an art project that's like, I get high and do crazy stuff. I mean, You know, I used to like some of this is like when we're finished here and you the guest has left, usually I have another beer and I edit podcasts. And you know, it may not be as cool and creative as yours, but
Oh
it
my
is
God,
like,
don't
yeah.
even.
But it is like that thing where there's like that ritual of like it's better than me drinking a beer and watching TV. So
Yeah. No, and I it's nice to work on something that gets to be loose. You know,
mhm.
again, I think that sort of comes back to this idea of, so part of my life is I work at a comic book store. I work there 4 days a week, and I've worked there 4 days a week since 2001, something like that.
Oh
And the
wow.
premise has always been, this is a part-time job. I write or create art in my off hours. And hopefully at some point that becomes a career in some form or another. Death by Media Man kind of evolved out of the fact that I used to be in training to be an actor.
Ah.
That was a thing that I did for a while. And part of that was to kind of see if I can get comfortable on camera. And I kind of didn't. This is sort of an experience with that now.
Mm.
Um,
I'm not comfortable on camera either. I
it's a
just don't
weird
look at
thing.
them. They're not very big, so it's good. Also, the lighting is sort of meant to hide them. They're just sort of black cameras in the shadow. So
No, it's just a casual conversation.
exactly, that's what the beer's for.
Um, but this idea then that it means, fuck, tell me if you know this fucking feeling. It's especially a thing on like whatever your weekend is. It comes to Sunday night. It's like 7 o'clock in the evening. You're completely burnt out from everything, but there's still this voice in your head that's like, did you do it? Did you do that great piece of art? Did you do that thing that's going to inspire people? Did you fucking use your time right? Like, you got to go back to work tomorrow, buddy. Take that to the point where you're sitting down at the keyboard. And I've had that paralysis of, I look at the clock and I'm like, this is it, dude. This is your 2 hours right now that you get to write. So you better fucking blow me away, buddy. You better fucking write a screenplay that somebody's going to pay you 20 grand for, because otherwise this was all for nothing and you're a fool. And your fingers just sit there on the keyboard and you don't have a fucking idea in your head, because who can create with that kind of pressure, with that kind of outcome necessary? That's not art anymore. That's just, you're a fucking machine and your job
Product.
is to just
Make
shit out product. And I think anybody who works in a creative field has to deal with that on some level of the like, where am I a sellout? When will I get to be a fucking sellout? I would give anything to be a fucking sellout. But here you sit. And again, I think part of this project for me was trying to do something that didn't have to be bottled up, that I didn't have to worry about selling it to anybody. I didn't have to worry about making it be something, even to that degree. We were talking earlier off mic about our relationships with ChatGPT.
Yes.
And I was using it
Just like as a therapist, not like a girlfriend or boyfriend. Sorry, let's just clarify that. Like getting it to model therapy, not dirty talk.
Well, and I was getting it to help me with my project. And
Yeah.
specifically, like there were some cases where, especially initial on, I have my version of what happened, but I want it rewritten in a degree of technical, like sci-fi textbook talk that I'm not even capable of. And that's
Yeah.
where I would sit down with it and be of like, hey, can you make this inscrutable? I want you to figure out the biggest words, the weirdest way to put this. And then I would kind of remix those things, taking what it wrote. Um, that's a slippery slope, you know, like having a relationship with AI, writing some of your material. The whole point though was the like, I wouldn't do that if I was submitting writing to someone. I wouldn't interact with an AI in that form. Like my writing has to be like, they want my fucking writing. But this is like, shit, man, I'm just doodling. I can do whatever I fucking want in a doodle. It can be incorporating shit that isn't, I wouldn't consider this ethical to sign my name off, or, you know, like I didn't create every single moment of this. It's weird though, because my relationship has changed over time. Initially, I was willing to use AI imagery, and it's gotten such a black eye in the past 6 months that it's hit a point where I'm like, I don't want people looking at my thing and seeing that style of AI art and immediately slotting me into, okay, this is that.
Mm-hmm.
And especially since there's so many fucking AI slop channels on YouTube now that are nothing.
God, yeah.
And it's at the same time, so I get it. I get it. Like, you just fucking tell it to make a video. It's so easy on that level.
I think it's funny though, because it really, even I'm seeing it, it's like the same problem I have with Amazon Prime, where it's like people are making it, the barrier to making stuff, the time it takes, not because it's not just like, oh, money. And it's like you can literally make an hour long video in 20 minutes. So how the hell is, and I watched some of these and I realized like 15 minutes in, it's just regurgitating a bunch of stuff that's really common knowledge. And yeah, it's just like now authenticity seems to be so much more important. And that I find is like kind of fascinating how that is almost become a new commodity.
You hope that, again, like that's sort of part of supposed to be what happens with the current political climate, is that it means that the artistic community gets to swing into being punk and extreme and weird. You hope. It's weird you talking about Backrooms, and like I love Backrooms as mythology. I'm super into Severance right now,
Yes.
which is, it's like, I don't, the guys who are making that are almost too old to know what the Backrooms are. They accidentally made a backroom show just because this is where our brains are as a culture and a society.
I think we are in a liminal space right now. We're in that, like, it's a post-pandemic, new technologies have come and changed everything. You can't trust, like, people that I know that just blindly believe things politicians tell them. It's like, no. And then there's other ones who just don't believe anything that they're told. And it's like, well, that's also, you've just stopped thinking. And
I think it's so hard to not see the amount of resources we have and to be of like, why? Why are we throwing out so much food and having so many hunger? Like, this has been a problem for so many years, but it just gets more obvious all the time of like, and the amount of money you have to spend to keep people from asking those questions. It's such a weird trap to fall into that seems to be what we're watching. Just back to the idea of Severance, maybe to another degree, there's shows like The Boys. It's interesting to watch corporations try to handle anti-corporate art because they need to. They need to fucking sell that shit, or but there's all this weird stuff of like, I didn't even know that Fight Club was technically a bomb. It had such a cultural impact that I always just assumed that thing made a ton of money. And then you look and it's like, oh no, it didn't technically make its money back at the box office. Like maybe VHS did it, but these corporations can't take chances on things. No. They don't want to take that. So I think we are in a weirdly unique place for what art and entertainment is going to be. And I mean, I'm not, it's nothing original to say of the like, so you're going to spend $300 million on your blockbuster entertainment. These kids made a TikTok for nothing and they both absorb the same amount of attention. Like, how do you...
Or even, did you see Flow, the animated movie that won the Oscar this year?
No.
Oh, so there was a bunch of them. And I watched like Wild Robot was a beautiful one, had famous voices in it. It was like 80 million to make. Yeah, the winner of Flow is $3.5 million. It was made in Blender. And it was about a cat, a capybara, and a few other animals, no talking. So just imagine the money they saved on globalization. Nothing needed to change to go to other countries. Like, except the credit text, like there's no talking in it, but it's all animals, animal sounds. And like Wild Robot was a great animated movie. I showed it to my parents. It's like, yeah, it was enjoyable. Like the flow changed. Like, you're just like, what was that? And I thought it was just me because I saw it at the Rio and I'd had a few drinks, but I showed it to my parents, who are very stodgy old people, and they're wonderful. But like, yeah, they're like, they really liked Wild Robot. And then they watched Flow next, and my mom's like, that was a great movie. I love that so much. It was like, oh, I like the cat and all the sounds it made. And it's just like, God damn, $3.5 million. I'm sure all those people that spent 20 times that.
What was the one recently? The Russo brothers, Electric State, which is like Netflix's most expensive movie at $300 million, based on a graphic novel, which is just a beautifully painted thing. Just as a side note, I'll call out one of my favorite creators, Brandon Graham, who always, he's a comic book artist. And one of his things was saying, the thing about comics is you could have a broken pencil and some shitty paper and be sitting on the edge of a dumpster, and you could still draw the greatest comic anyone's ever seen. Like, it's right fucking there. Comics are a true passion of mine. That's why I've been in the shop for so long. There are definitely influences on the video art that I create that way. But I do think there's... Our art doesn't have to cost money. Or maybe it shouldn't. I don't know. I think, as you said, there's a liminal space aspect of things right now. And I think some of that is these things collapsing of like, I do love Severance. It feels weird when I hear how much fucking money they're spending on it. And part of me is like, my entertainment is not worth this much. You guys don't need to spend this much money on me. And again, it's is this sustainable versus, the freedom and the fun of doing something that is meant to be low cost. I'm just printing out pages, and taping them up. The most the stuff is costing me right now is that I go to the dollar store and buy a new thing of tape every week or so. It's meant to be sort of low cost and grungy and fun that way. Yeah, I do hope there's a punk element to it, but there's nothing less punk than saying that you're punk. So
Yeah, that's valid. Yeah. No, other people can say it though.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the $20 for calling you punk later. So yeah, you got an Absolute Underground, dude. That's those guys are legit.
There was a whole level to that. Which gets back to comics. That I was doing a comic with a friend that I had online for a while. He was drawing this thing, this character I have called Anonymous Cubed, who I've worked with for different mediums for 20 years now. And he had drawn a bunch of comic pages that we weren't doing anything with. So somewhat, I guess, during COVID, I basically wrote up Absolute Underground, was like, hey, you guys are the only in-print magazine left. Do you want to just print my comic on your comics page? And they were like, sure, we'll do that.
That's awesome.
And then yeah, somewhere after that, I was like, I'll review comics if you guys want. And then that turned into also, I don't know, at one point I pitched them on that I'd review snacks as well. So every once in a while, you'll see me in Absolute Underground doing stoner snack reviews where I talk about what Doritos I've had this month.
What kind of, is it only Doritos or is it all kinds of snacks?
It's supposed to be all kinds of snacks, but I'm kind of basic. Okay. So it's generally 3 or 4 flavors of Doritos and then one other random thing that I had to get in there because I'm not being endorsed by Doritos.
Yeah.
Which is good because I say bad shit. They're not all good.
No.
Not all chips are good. Some of them are really bad.
There's actually like a crazy snack shop near my place that has like the really bizarro stuff. And occasionally I go in there and sometimes it's too much even for me.
See, I've gone through a thing recently where I've gone to a few of those places and now I've started to be able to chart the distribution hub behind it. Of like, oh, if you're one of these 3 shops, then you have access to this wholesaler because I see the same 7 chips in each one of these. I'm getting the overall awareness of it.
Yeah, that makes sense because like they're very much branded in weird themed things.
Yeah.
And they must produce them in one big batch or like, yeah, limited batches.
It comes down to like, it's that dude in that truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Hank, it's been good talking to you. I think we'll need to get you back on for another beer sometime. When you've got, maybe we're looking at season 2 of On the Spot.
It's definitely going to happen. I mean, we're leading up to it now. So
where can our viewers find you?
So On the Spot is just going on at YouTube. So it's youtube.com/@ On This Spot. That's where all the videos go up. We didn't even touch on the fact that there's a whole other narrative being told. There's the videos, but the actual descriptions of the videos are a completely not unrelated story, but the story of the person who's uploading those videos is a
separate
whole other
story.
layer of what's going on. So like there is, when I do the Absolute Underground
Roach.
review,
there is a mention of a Buddy Roach. Yeah.
And all those are signed off the character Zed, which again is a bit of a House of Leaves reference. When I do the interview in Absolute Underground, that's in character. So that's not me doing the interview. That's the fictional person who's uploading these videos and putting the stickers up, which I'm thinking about putting myself on camera. So there's a level of, I think I might start to blur this and play that character as well. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, Hank, it's been a pleasure. And all the links you mentioned, I'll put everything I can find about you in the comments and maybe in it's written from the point of view of Zed. But thank you so much, man. I'm really inspired by your art and look forward to seeing more of it.
Thanks for having me on, Rob. This was awesome.
Cheers.